Hello, drummers and musicians. Welcome to Tim Conley Drums. Today I'm going to tell you guys a couple of crazy bandmate stories. I know we all have bandmate stories to tell. I got 40 years under my belt playing gigs. Played thousands of gigs in hundreds of bands. And I got some stories to tell you. Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you two stories. The first one, quite a while ago. I remember, early 2000s, I'm going to say, probably around there, early 2000s. Now, one thing I want to clarify, I'm not giving up any names. I'm not giving up any venue names, etc., because the venues could still be active. These people could still be active in the business. So if you are the person that I'm talking about and you watch this video, you'll know who you are. Otherwise, for everybody else, it's just going to be a story. I'm actually going to put my glasses on because the sun just came out and it's super bright and I can't see the camera. So, I'm wearing my Canada gear, gearing up for the Olympics tomorrow. We are cheering for some people that we actually know at the Olympics. My son's a high-level swimmer. Didn't quite make the Olympic team, but he knows and has swam with some people that are going to be swimming in the Olympics for Canada. So go Canada, go at the Olympics. Anyway, story number one. Early 2000s, playing a pro gig with a professional band that I am recently just joined. I just joined this band. So I really had no say in the band because I was the new guy. I auditioned, I got the job, and we were gigging and stuff. Now, there was a guitar player in the band. He was a great guitar player, really good guitar player. He was a fun guy. I enjoyed him, but I did not realize until I got to know him that he was basically a junkie. So drugs and alcohol are the downfall of almost every band. So, doing some gigs with this guy, with the band, everything's fine. Shows are going well. We're not touring or anything. It's all basically in Toronto. But in the early 2000s, the big thing, the big scene for druggies was the ecstasy scene. I can't remember the name of, there was a bunch of different bars in Toronto. If you guys can remember the names, please put it in the comments. That were the ecstasy clubs. And basically, it was a rave club. So people would go and, of course, do ecstasy, and then they would dance to, you know what I'm talking about, that house music that basically is the same song on repeat. Anyways, that was the big thing at the time, as I recall. And I can't remember how many gigs I played with this band, but the band is working, we're gigging, whatever. Show up for this gig in Toronto, and it's right near one of these rave clubs. So we play, I think, one set. It was 3 sets of 45 minutes. We play the first set. Second set, the guitar player disappears. Everybody's asking where he is because we got to get back on stage. Well, he comes stumbling through the door kind of in a hurry, realizing that he's going to be late, and he was late. We started the second set a little bit late, which kind of annoyed the manager of the club. Anyways, get up on stage, start playing. As the set progresses, things start to get really bizarre. He suddenly starts almost like passing out. His head is dropping. He'll stop playing, and then all of a sudden he'll wake up, so to speak, start playing again. And if you've watched any of my other videos, I've said this over and over and over, and I'm a broken record, but I've never really done any drugs. I did do drugs once when I didn't want to. Watch my drugged video. So anyways, he's acting strange, and we're in the middle of the set, so it's like, what the hell is going on? So in between one of the songs, the singer says to the bass player, find out what the hell is going on, wrong with him. What is going on? And the singer's like, hey, how's everybody doing tonight? The singer does the whole crowd thing, while the bass player leans over to the guitar player, and I really can't hear what they're saying because, as you know, if you're in a band and drumming and whatnot, you're back in the stage. Bass player's leaning over to the guitar player, and he's turning to him, and he's looking at him like, who the hell is this guy? So I realize something is wrong here. He's either taken something, or he's drunk, or something's happened. And it never dawned on me till I found out later. He ran over to this ecstasy club. And I guess he got some ecstasy. And he's taken it. So now we've got a situation where I found out later the sort of the cycle of ecstasy, and that is that they sort of lose energy in the beginning. They're almost passing out. In some cases, they do actually sort of, you'll see, you go into, I remember going into an ecstasy club once because I was working there, gigging, believe it or not. That's another story. But all these people sitting in chairs passed out like this, and I'm like, what kind of a freaking club is this? I didn't know what was going on. I'm hip to the drug scene after working as a musician, but at the time I didn't know anything about it. So anyways, carry on. He can't play, basically. He can't play. So we don't know what to do. So the singer, after he finishes trying to entertain the audience, or whatever, he just tells the audience, we've got a problem here on stage. We just got to sort it out. Manager comes storming over. What the hell is going on? What is wrong with it? What's wrong with your guitar player? Blah, blah, blah. We don't know, because at that time we actually didn't know. We didn't find out until later. I was just guessing, or the band was just guessing that he had taken some drugs. That's what he appeared. It turns out it was ecstasy. We found that out later. But anyways, the whole gig pretty much gets shut down until the second phase of the ecstasy kicks in, which is the super high energy. All of a sudden, as we're trying to, where he's sitting in a chair on the stage, and we've basically stopped the show. It's only maybe 5-10 minutes have passed. The audience is still there, but the manager has given us hell. All of a sudden, he bursts out of the chair, jumps up, and just starts playing like a maniac. But his guitar, of course, the PA wasn't on. So he's playing his guitar like a maniac. But of course, the band isn't playing. Nothing's going on. Let me tell you something. It was a nightmare. So we shut the gig down at that point. And then basically the manager was threatening us, you're not fulfilling your contract. You guys who are musicians out there know what I'm talking about. They're having a fit because it's, I don't know, maybe 11 o'clock, 11:15 at night. The club is packed and they got no entertainment. So what ended up happening, because of this manager putting so much pressure on us, we just basically shut the gig down and promised them that we wouldn't do this again and all that sort of thing. And that did not go over well with the manager. We got fired off that particular gig. As the evening progresses, though, the story doesn't end there. As the evening progresses and he's coked up and acid and he's hallucinating and I'm the king of the world and all that stupid shit that he's doing, he suddenly, I shouldn't say suddenly, he goes into the bathroom and we're like, how the hell is this guy going to get home? I'm not driving him. I live at the complete opposite end of where this guy lives. So we're trying to figure out how the hell is this guy going to get home? Well, he ends up getting home in an ambulance because he goes into the bathroom And turns out he overdosed or something. I don't know exactly what he did. And they couldn't wake him up, couldn't wake him up, couldn't wake him up, go in the bathroom. So finally, somebody, not me, but somebody calls an ambulance. And the ambulance comes, and basically, at that time, they didn't have that shot that they give, that adrenaline boost or whatever that shot is for people that overdose. So they took him to the hospital, and that was the end of that night. We just packed up our gear. We lost the gig. We were really disappointed. I thought for sure this guy's going to get fired, whatever. So, I don't know, a week passes. We got another gig, different venue. And I thought for sure, stupid me at the time, I did not speak to the band leader to find out if we got a new guitar player or whatever. I thought for sure that they would just replace him, and I was waiting for the call to do rehearsal. Well, no rehearsals. Gig date comes around. I stupidly didn't call or find out what was going to be happening as far as the guitar player goes. I just got a message saying on my phone, because remember those days you would have a phone call. If you weren't there, you'd hit the machine and it would give you a message from whoever called. I get a call saying, yeah, gig is on, everything's good, see you at the gig, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I'm like, okay, I guess they've hired somebody that knows the material, whatever. Because I'm sure this guy got fired. Show up at the gig, same guitar player. And I'm like, again, you got to remember, new guy in the band, right? So, but I did say to the bass player, I'm surprised to see him here. We lost our gig last week. We got fired. Swore never to be able to play at this venue again. And here's the guitar player up at this gig. And he says, yeah. The leader, I can't say his name. I almost said his name. The leader had a chat with him. He swears he's never going to do this again, whatever. Okay. So we're playing the gig. And then, like I said, the guy was actually a good player. He sang nice backup vocals. He was a good player. He was a good guy, everything. But he was a freaking junkie. So we're playing. Almost identical thing happens, except this time, no ambulance. But he goes off, disappears, comes back. Second and third set, we got through the gig. But he was freaking high as a kite, making all kinds of mistakes, jumping off the stage, running into the crowd. Like, it was entertaining, I guess, from the crowd perspective, but from the band perspective, he would disappear, and where the hell is he? We could hear him, but he's out in the crowd somewhere. And the cable, of course, guitar cord only goes so far, and it's like, oh my God. I couldn't tell you how many times the guitar would just disappear. Why? Because the freaking cable came out. It was a nightmare. I really felt for this band leader, and then I'm thinking for myself, do I really want to be involved in this shit? So I'd had enough of this at this particular gig. We finished the gig, and then I approached the band leader, and I'm like, look, man, I don't think I can do this gig anymore. And he's like, no, we really want you, and blah, 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 and everything. So needless to say, there was a band meeting. The guitar player swore up and down, all this other crap, but I just said, I've had enough. I can't deal with this. I quit the band. Now, maybe some of you other guys would say, oh no, you should have stuck it out. You should have been there for him. But he wasn't my friend. I got hired into the band, and when you're new in a band, like, I'd only been playing with them 2 months. I really didn't know any of them. So I don't want to get involved with somebody that's got a drug addiction. I'm a musician, a professional musician. I'm not a drug counselor. That's not my job. And like I said, he wasn't a lifelong friend. If this was a friend, lifelong friend, whatever, it would have been different. It was better for me to just get out. So that's what I did. I just packed it in and said, see you later, because I just couldn't deal with that. Now, my second story, quickly, I'm going to tell this one a little bit faster. Playing a gig in Burlington, Ontario, not far from here in Hamilton. And I can't remember, again, I don't name venues, but I actually couldn't name the venue even if I wanted to, because I can't remember the name of it. I've played so many, I'm unless they're big name venues, I pretty much forget their names. It's a small place. Again, I get hired as a sub. My friend is the drummer, and I get hired as a sub, and it's for 5 nights in a row, 5-nighter. And it actually paid pretty decent for a small place in Burlington. It paid, I think, $250. Pretty decent for a small little bar. There might have been 80, 90 people there each night. I did the 5 gigs, but let me tell you, it was freaking hell. Alcohol, the singer, again, good singer, real baritone, great tone, good singer for the first 2 sets. Third set, drunk as a skunk, couldn't remember words. Thank God for the bass player. Once again, those bass players out there, man, they're so awesome. So much respect for you level-headed bass players out there. I know there's always hooligans. I played in a band with a hooligan bass player, but for the most part, level-headed guys for the most part. And the bass player would sing all his parts that he would forget, miss, whatever. It's almost like he would whisper sing along with them, so the audience could just barely hear him or not even hear him at all. And then as soon as he knew or could tell, I don't know how he did this, but he could just tell the guy was going to screw up or whatever, he would sing louder, and the audience didn't notice the missing parts, but the band sure as hell did. So he's falling off the stage, drunk as anything, slurring, couldn't speak, couldn't sing. By the end of the night, the bass player was basically singing the songs as this guy is practically passed out in a chair on stage. Now, unbelievably, he never got fired. So I'm guessing, again, remember, I'm a sub. I'm guessing this guy must have known the bar owner or had a connection or something, because most bands where you're playing and the singer is passing out on stage and or acting like a total hooligan, yelling, screaming, dancing all over the place, but dancing is fine, that's what a singer's supposed to do, but not dancing in the sense that he's singing the song and dancing. I mean, like leaving the stage, going out onto the dance floor, not singing at all, or singing wrong, he was even singing the wrong songs. We'd count one song in, he'd sing another. Oh, it was a nightmare. So those are my 2 horror stories. Now, obviously the first one was worse because I was actually a member of that band. The second one, I quit. I did the 5, and then, it's not even that I quit. Let me reword that. I did the 5 gigs and then said, don't call me again. I told my agent I'm not interested in working with that band anymore either, because I just can't deal with the whole drunkenness. I think I've been drunk at 2 gigs in my entire life, and we're talking thousands of gigs. I always had a professional approach to music. I always wanted to play well. I never wanted to be that idiot on stage. I never wanted to be the guy that let the band down. I never wanted to be the guy that let the crowd down, because even if you're in a bar and you didn't play a cover, you're still drinking a beer. The money that is you paid for that beer, some of that goes towards me as my pay for the night. And I always think about respect to the audience and respect to the bar owner and all this stuff. Even though we as musicians quite often don't get that turned back to us. But that's my attitude. I always have a professional attitude at every gig. Never got drunk at rehearsal or gigs. I was always there, professional, set up, ready to play, do my thing at the end of the night. I never partied at the end of the night, hardly at all, except on tour. That was a little bit different. But basically a bar gig, pack up, leave. I got to drive home anyway, so I don't want to get caught for drunk driving. I don't do any drunk driving. Now, I don't drink anymore. Back in the day, I used to drink but not get drunk. I just have 1 or 2. I keep rubbing my arms because the sun is unbelievably hot and I didn't put any sunscreen on. Yeah, I don't drink and drive. Never really drank and drive. I mean, I'd have maybe a beer or 2 at the gig, but never drunk. So anyways, guys, those are my 2 Bandmate horror stories. I got many, many more. My next video, I'm thinking about doing a follow-up to my Ontario, there's no pay in Ontario band scene, because I want to clarify some things. So I'm going to do a follow-up to that. That'll probably be my next video. We will see. Anyways, thanks for watching. And as always, keep drumming. See ya.